Jaguars back to work down at the Miller Electric Center, getting ready for the Los Angeles Chargers, the 7-3 Los Angeles Chargers, winners of 4 of their last 5. I was down at the Miller Electric Center earlier today, inside the Jaguar locker room. Certainly got a lot of thoughts from some things that were discussed in there. I went one-on-one with defensive back Jarrian Jones, who's coming off his best game of the season. Also went one-on-one with rookie defensive lineman Danny Strigal. First time I've had the opportunity to talk with him. I'm a fan of Danny Strigal, and I'll tell you, he's a guy, too, that you're starting to notice a little something from on that defensive line. So you will hear one-on-one conversations with defensive back Jarrian Jones and defensive lineman Danny Strigal. That comes up in the next 20 minutes or so. Also, former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on Prime Time. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark, as we'll preview the Chargers, but we'll also take a deep dive into the offensive line. I don't think I'm overstating it. The Leon Searcy is one of the top 2 offensive linemen, or top 2. I would top 2 offensive tackles for sure. Certainly top 5 offensive linemen total. The guy's in the top 30 Jaguars all time that was voted on a couple of years ago. Leon was the best right tackle that's ever played here. So his words speak volumes when you're talking about the offensive line. And Leon's got a lot of thoughts about 20-plus sacks that have been given up by this offensive line over the last 4 weeks or so. So my buddy Leon Searcy joins me coming up here in about 30 or 35 minutes. So a lot of Jaguar talk tonight, as you can imagine. We will talk a little college athletics too, a little college football and college basketball. As we told you last night, the game was pretty good during Hacker After Dark. Florida State. The Gators get it done. The defending national champions, 78-76. Mark Wise of ESPN. The man is a college basketball encyclopedia. We'll have Mark on in the 9 o'clock hour to review Florida State from last night and to talk about Todd Golden and this Gator basketball team as they come to Jacksonville now. Their next game is Sunday evening here in Jacksonville, taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right. I'm going to take us all back to college, right? The college life. And that's how I've thought about this week. And what I mean by that is this. You know those great college parties, but you wake up the next morning with the most awful hangover known to man? I know I certainly was there. I imagine most of you were certainly there at one point in your college life. You wake up the next morning and you're just shaking your head and the world is spinning and you're thinking, oh my God, never again. This is just awful. And then a day or two goes by, you start shaking out the cobwebs a little bit. And then by the time 6-7 days goes by, well, you're ready to roll again, man. You're ready to do it. Let's go back out and make it happen again. It's kind of what I think about this Jaguar football team, or my hope for this Jaguar football team. Sunday was the drunk fest. You lose to Houston. Monday morning, you wake up and you're just shaking your head. Like, oh my gosh, what happened? How did we get here? How did we blow a 19-point fourth quarter lead? And then Monday turns into Tuesday, as it tends to do from time to time. And Tuesday turns into Wednesday. And here we are on Wednesday night. And my hope is that you, the fans, and the team down there are like, okay, well, we got to shake out the cobwebs from Wednesday. We got to refocus for the Chargers. And then by the time Sunday rolls around, you're ready to roll again as a fan base, and they're ready to roll again as an organization. That was my hope. I don't know if that's where we are right now, though. And I don't want to make too big a deal out of this. It's just my own perception. I've been in the Jaguar locker room every week this year, dating back to OTAs and training camp and obviously now into the regular season. Look, this team has responded to adversity so well, right? They responded when Jake Browning beat them with Cincinnati, which was an awful loss, right? Horrible. And they responded by winning 3 in a row. They then lose to Seattle and get absolutely destroyed at Wembley Stadium against the Rams. They go into a bye week, come out, and they beat the Las Vegas Raiders. Now you blow a 19-point fourth quarter lead, and the hope is that they can respond to adversity yet again. Maybe that's even the expectation, as you'll hear Jarian Jones talk about in just a moment. I hope that's what happens, right? I hope. I don't know if that's where we are, at least on Wednesday. Still got a couple of days to stew on the Houston game from a fan base, a media perspective. My hope is that the guys in that locker room are over it. But again, it's hard to get over something like that 72 hours after the fact. They need to turn the page, and they're saying all the right things publicly. I don't know. I got the sense in there today there wasn't maybe as much joking around as there has been, which could be a good sign, right? Could be they're all business and they're back to work. I just didn't get the ultra positive vibe on a Wednesday. I could go in there tomorrow. It could be completely different. But look, they're human beings just like you and I, right? And obviously they have a lot invested in what happened Sunday. We lived through it as fans and media. Well, they lived through it because it happened directly to them. I would hope that they feel considerably worse about it than you and I do. And if you and I still aren't over the 19-point collapse, and we didn't do anything about it on the field, imagine the guys that did do something about it on the field and came up short. That was a gut punch, man. That's what I talked last night. That was a horrible loss. Maybe the worst regular season loss in the history of the Jaguar franchise. And can you snap out of it to play a really good Charger team coming in here on Sunday? Well, you need to. You don't have much of a choice. There's nothing that can be done about that Houston game. That is signed, sealed, and delivered. Done. Nothing can be done about that. The only thing you can do is move on. And I'll go back to something that Denmark and I talked about last week. I told Denmark, and he'll vouch for this, I said, look, this was before the loss in Houston when the Jaguars were 5-3. And I believe, Dylan, you agreed with me. I said, Houston and the Chargers, don't tell me how it happens, but after Houston and after the Chargers, if 5-3 turns into 6-4, meaning 1 win and 1 loss, would we take it? I said absolutely yes. Denmark, I believe you said yes as well, correct?
Yes.
So that's where we are right now, right? They're 5-4. And I'm not going to go back on what I said just a week ago. I said if they're 6-4 after 10 games, I would sign on the dotted line. And I stand by that. I would sign on the dotted line for 6-4. I think you're in good shape at that point. If you lose on Sunday and you fall to 500 for the first time since you were 1-1 after 2 games, then I think there could be some real issue. I also want to get into this whole James Gladstone thing that I'm seeing online. People starting to go after the general manager a little bit for some of his moves. I don't agree with going after James Gladstone. I think he's done a very good job, quite frankly. Is it his fault that a freak injury happened in practice to Travis Hunter? Of course not. I mean, you look at what Gladstone has brought in here. There's been some misses, right? You could say after 10 games, a couple of the free agents he brought in have been misses. I think far more have been hits. But I get the frustration from the fan base, particularly because of the Travis Hunter situation. And I get now because he's hurt that people are coming after James Gladstone. The NFL is a funny business, man. Because no more than 2 weeks ago, prior to that injury on October 30th, when the last thing we saw of Travis Hunter was 8 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown, well, then all of us, that was a great pick. That's what I'm talking about. Intangibly rich, right? And then one tweaked knee on a Thursday practice in October, and all of a sudden Gladstone's not doing a very good job. NFL is a funny business when it comes to things like that. We talk about it meaning not for long. Well, that not only is that for job security, that's in the fans' eyes if you're doing a good job or not. As soon as adversity strikes, some fans will just come at you, man. I would absolutely pump the brakes on that. I think Gladstone's done fine. I think Cohen has done fine to get the Jaguars to 5-4. Again, we've talked about it all week. Not that it helps you at all get over the Houston game. Doesn't really help me either. But 14 teams would make the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, the Jaguars are in that 14-team field. The Jaguars would be in the AFC playoffs if it started today, which is a far cry from where they have been for a majority of the last 15 years in the middle portion of November. So just think about stuff like that before you want to annihilate Gladstone for his rookie class. Does he control injuries? Can he foreshadow the future and say, well, yeah, Travis Hunter's going to tweak his knee and Ransaw's going to have somebody roll into him and all this, that, and the other? I don't know. That's a tough one for me. We were inside the Jaguar locker room earlier today. Jarian Jones coming off his best game of the year. I went one-on-one with him. Also, rookie defensive end Danny Strigow, who's getting more playing time, and I think will get more playing time because he's starting to produce a little bit out there on the field. I went one-on-one with Danny Strigow as well. You will hear those conversations coming up next. On a Wednesday night here in Northeast Florida, we're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
The tape doesn't lie, and neither does he. Jeff Lockeman breaks down the film and shares his insights with you Tuesdays during football season on Jaguars Today. Check the Tape Tuesday. Checked by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
Truth Teller here, and I've solved all of your holiday problems and stress. A gift card from the Blue Crab Crab House. Get this, you buy a $50 gift card, and you get an additional $15 card for free. It's that simple, and as always at the Blue Crab Crab House, the best crabs in Jacksonville, oysters and seafood, period. Blue Crab Crab House, open every day except for Monday off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road.
Make Honda of the Avenues your first stop for award-winning customer service and world-class Honda vehicles. Our inventory is larger than ever, which means we have the perfect Honda waiting for you. Plus, at Honda of the Avenues, we always put our customers first, making the car buying experience fun, fast, and easy. You'll always find great deals on our huge selection of new and certified pre-owned Hondas, all prepped and ready for a test drive. Come see just how different car buying can be at Honda of the Avenues today. Stop by or shop from home at HondaoftheAvenues.com. Proud sponsor of Sporting.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
When someone excels in and out of the classroom, we should celebrate it.
That's why 1010XL brings you the Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Wednesdays on The Frangie Show, tuned up by
The Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I called you about the ductwork in my attic this summer, and you totally blew me off.
I did.
My airflow is too low and my bills are too high.
I know.
There's stains on my ceiling tiles and sweating around the vents, and the mice have chewed so many holes in the ducts, I think they're getting more AC than I am.
I know.
Then how could you let me suffer all summer, Jason?
Because summer is the one time of year I just can't send my technician into someone's steaming hot attic. They'd kill me. Ductwork is hot, cramped work at the best of times. Lucky for you, those best of times are in November.
You mean like now?
Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair your old, damaged, or just plain sketchy ductwork right now when it's not too hot and not too cold.
And none of your technicians will kill you.
It's a win-win.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosper here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yeah, and then also looking at, okay, where do we need them most, right, in more ways than others. So I definitely think the whole thing's been a learning experiment, and but getting to know the person has obviously been the most important thing, and the type of competitor, the way that he learns, the way that he competes, the way that he practices. That's stuff that we've been able to gain valuable information on and be able to use moving forward and actually put into continued practice.
The thoughts of Jaguar head coach Liam Cohen when asked about Travis Hunter and what he learned from Travis Hunter's rookie year, a rookie year that prematurely came to an end as we finally got clarity yesterday that Travis Hunter will no longer be on the Jaguar roster in 2025, out for the year with an LCL injury that was repaired, and Travis Hunter apparently is already back in Jacksonville, and he will be around. He's going to rehab here. He's going to be in the building, in team meetings, which is good, but we won't see Travis Hunter on the field again until next football season. Thank you to Jaguars.com. I was in the Jaguar locker room earlier. We'll let you hear my conversations with Jarian Jones and Danny Strigow coming up in one moment. Liam Cohen was also asked, I guess it's never too early from a media perspective, to talk about Travis Hunter and what he will be in 2026 as far as a wide receiver, a defensive back. Is he going to try to do both again? Liam Cohen was asked about that earlier today.
All that's very premature to answer at this point. You know, you have a lot of confidence in the makeup, the person, the competitor, the athlete, the talent. Like I said, so many players have gone through minor setbacks for major comebacks, and that's been the complete message to him.
You know, one of the big stories that came out of Liam Cohen's press conference as well, not only addressing Travis Hunter and the end of his rookie season, but his comments about Trevor Lawrence. He said he's had really good conversations with Trevor all year long, but particularly this week after the Houston game. And there was some instances in the Houston game when you watch the All-22 and you watch the film and all that, where there were a couple of instances that Trevor Lawrence had maybe opportunities down the field that he did not throw. He took the underneath route or he scrambled out of the pocket. I got a thought on that in a moment, but Liam Cohen was asked about Trevor Lawrence and what he's told Trevor since that Houston game on Sunday.
No, I think, Trevor and I had a good conversation yesterday in terms of just, hey, man, cut it loose and let it rip, when we do have some of those opportunities. And, hey, man, we don't want to turn the ball over, right? We want to turn it over on defense and we want to keep it on offense, but we can't, be thinking about that or trying to play to to not make a mistake at all, right? And so the message for Trev in our conversation is to just go cut it loose, let it rip, and see what happens, right? You don't need to be Jordan, point guards, facilitators, distributors. That's what we need, and that's what we talked about yesterday.
It's a tough spot because, Trevor Lawrence gets ripped constantly for his fumbles or his interceptions or his overthrows down the field, right? He's been annihilated for that year after year after year. And we always tell him, or, he's always heard, and we as a media, the fan base, all of us have said, Trevor, you don't need to make the big play all the time. Go underneath. Instead of trying the 30-yard post that gets intercepted, take the 6-yard down and out that keeps the chains moving. I know I've said that many times. So how do we say that? And then we say, well, you got to throw it down the field more. You got to let it rip, as Liam Cohen said. Now, Cohen's new to this. He's only been with Trevor for 9 games. But I do wonder how much trepidation Trevor Lawrence has to do that because of the amount of interceptions that he has thrown or the amount of game-changing fumbles that he's made because he's held the ball maybe a half second too long waiting for the deep route and not going underneath, right? It's more playing not to lose than maybe it is to win. Kind of like a prevent defense, except maybe it's a prevent offense. I think that's what happened in Houston. I think the Jaguars were playing not to lose on offense in the fourth quarter instead of playing to win. If you play to win, you probably win the game. So it's a slippery slope with that because, again, I'm sure you, just like me, have gotten very critical, very frustrated watching interceptions and fumbles and overthrows and take what the defense gives you and all the stuff we've talked about around Trevor Lawrence's game. But now when he doesn't take those chances, now we're all yelling to him to take those chances. So I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. Again, I was inside the Jaguar locker room earlier today. Danny Strigal, the undrafted rookie defensive lineman who's beginning to make an impact for not only the special teams, but the defense. You'll hear that conversation in one moment. First, Jarian Jones. I thought Jarian Jones had his best game on Sunday of the season. He had an interception. He had a key pass breakup on 4th down as well. Unfortunately, the Jaguars could not hold on to the lead. But I had the opportunity to catch up with Jarian Jones earlier today in the Jaguar locker room at the Miller Electric Center. Here is that conversation on Hacker After Dark. Jaguars getting ready for the Chargers on Sunday. We got Jaguar defensive back Jarian Jones with us here on 1010XL. Jarian, how'd practice go out there today?
Had a good practice. Good competitive practice. Just, trying to get back to the basics and get that nasty taste out of my mouth.
Obviously, the win is the most important thing, but fans were really pumped to see you on Sunday do what you did, the interception, a couple of passes defense. How do you feel you played last week?
Personally, I feel like I had a good game, but, none of that really matters if you lose. So, I kind of then scratched it off and, ready for this week.
It's been an interesting 48 hours, I'm sure, in this locker room in the loss Sunday. Obviously, the Travis news yesterday. What's kind of the vibe in here, getting ready for the Chargers on Sunday?
I feel like everybody's in here, a grown man. I think we're just going through a little adversity right now. And, these next couple of weeks are going to really show what type of team we are. If we can fight through it or, or we're going to let it fold us.
The team seems to be responding to adversity well after the Cincinnati game, after the game in London. Is that the hope again this week? You've shown you can do it again against the Chargers on Sunday?
I really wouldn't say it's the hope. I kind of think it's the expectation. Obviously, everybody's in here grown man, which I fully expect that everybody in here would, come to work. This is our job. So I feel like everybody should come to work and, get ready to win a game because that's really all that matters. Nobody really cares about the sob story. They really care if you win or lose.
Justin Herbert and the Chargers coming in on Sunday. Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen. What have you seen from them on film so far?
Good veteran group. I think Ladd is the youngest of the receiver group, but Justin Herbert, he's been in the league for a while, so I think he's good at what he does, has nice touch on the ball. Keenan, he's obviously, everybody knows who Keenan Allen is, great route runner, so I think we just got to come to work and, be at our best.
Back at home finally First time in over a month. It's been a long time. A couple of West Coast trips, London. How excited are you guys to get back out at Everbank Stadium?
Super excited to get back in front of our home crowd, you know what I'm saying, have that on our side and, you know what I'm saying, overwhelm the Chargers this weekend.
Final question. Everything's still right in front of you guys. I mean, as much as positive, negative, everything has transpired, man, it's all still right there. Is that the message this week?
Yeah, of course. You know what I'm saying, I think the season is far from over with 8 more games left, you know what I'm saying, so I just think we got to take it one at a time and, you know what I'm saying, just try to win the next one.
Jarian, appreciate it, man.
Yes, I appreciate it.
There you go, Jarian Jones coming off his best game of 2025, and he's going to be relied on, right? No Travis Hunter anymore in that defensive backfield. You got Greg Newsome, which, by the way, I think he needs to play better. He's been here a month now. I don't see any upgrade over Tyson Campbell by any stretch of the imagination. Newsome needs to play a little better. I think he'd probably even tell you that. But you got Newsome. I really like what I've seen on Monteric Brown. Jarian Jones, and then Jordan Lewis, who, again, did not practice today. We will see what his availability is for Sunday, but I do think they really miss Jordan Lewis back there. When Jordan Lewis gets right, that's still a good secondary, in my opinion, with Monteric, Jarian, Newsome, and Jordan Lewis. Maybe mix in a Christian Braswell as well, but certainly they need to be healthy back there. And you're playing a Justin Herbert team with Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston. I mean, that is a lethal passing attack that the Chargers are bringing in here. That's the secondary. What about the defensive line? Danny Strigow, undrafted Jaguar rookie free agent, was inactive for the first couple of weeks. He's now been active for the last couple of games, and you're starting to see 92 do some stuff, not only on special teams, but on the rotation of that defensive line as well. Here's Danny Strigow, Jaguar undrafted rookie free agent, on Hacker After Dark. All right, inside the Jaguar locker room, Jaguars getting ready for the Chargers on Sunday. We got Jaguar defensive lineman Danny Strigow with us here on 1010XL. Danny, how practice go out there today?
It went well. It was good to get back out on the grass, start working towards this next week.
No doubt. Been a tough couple of days for the team Sunday, and then obviously the Travis news yesterday. What's kind of the vibe in this locker room as practice begins, getting ready for the Chargers?
Yeah, obviously, we're going to go out there with, the guys that we do have and, do our best to, keep putting wins up in that column. We'll be able to have guys that'll go out there and be able to play for us. Obviously, it sucks when guys go down and, you lose big members of this team. But at the end of the day, you still got to play on Sundays. So, we'll be ready to go.
This team seems to be responding to adversity very well. The Cincinnati loss, you come home, get a couple of big wins. The LA loss, you come back, you beat Las Vegas. Is that the hope again this week, that the team again can respond to adversity?
Yeah, obviously it all comes down to how you respond to it. Whether it's you're winning games and you're riding that high, and you still got to come back with a learning mindset. It's the same thing when you lose games. You got to come back and see what we can learn and how can we respond to the outcome of the game to be able to change that outcome the following week.
I think this message is being conveyed by a lot of Jaguar fans. 92 is starting to make some plays. I mean, how do you feel your game is developing here in your rookie season?
Yeah, I think just continuing to learn from the guys in the room. We got a wealth of knowledge in the room. A lot of older guys in the room that have seen a lot of football, and just being able to take advantage of the opportunities that I am getting and, keep getting my number called and keep going out there and playing my best.
There's a lot of talk outside this locker room about the pass rush. I'm sure you guys might hear some of that. What is the thought process on being able to affect the opposing quarterback?
Yeah, I don't necessarily listen to a lot of things outside of this building. I try to, keep everything in-house and, what do we need to do to be better. But, the better we can rush as a collective group and, the better chemistry we have, obviously we're going to, continue to affect the quarterback. It doesn't all, obviously sacks or, what we're after, but at the end of the day, it's affecting the quarterback, messing up his timing on his throws and having him make some errant throws. Obviously, we want to put him on the ground, but at the end of the day, as long as we're affecting the quarterback, we know the guys behind us will be able to make plays, and that in end will help us win games.
As we begin to wrap up, Justin Herbert coming in here on Sunday. What have you seen from the Chargers on film so far?
Yeah, he's a very talented player. They've got some guys up front that have been moved into some different roles, but they're still playing at a pretty high level. So his ability to move the ball down the field with his legs and with his arm, and as well as the backfield, and being able to move the ball on the ground, they've shown some things that have helped them win games. And so we're gonna have to bring our A game.
Final question: back in front of the home crowd for the first time in over a month. How excited are you guys to get back out at Everbank Stadium?
Yeah, it'll be a blast. I know they haven't disappointed yet since I've been here. And, I don't anticipate that being the case coming up this Sunday.
Danny, best of luck on Sunday. We'll be watching.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
There you go, Danny Strigow. I'm a fan of his, man. First time I really had the chance to talk with him. Very cordial, very thoughtful in his time. And he's a guy, look, I noticed it on Sunday, both with special teams and in a rotation on the defensive line. You're starting to get some stuff out of 92 a little bit. Keep your eye on him moving forward. He's got great size. He's obviously a guy that's an underdog mentality because he was an undrafted free agent, makes the team. And I think that's a guy that you can build around, moving forward as one of the young pieces that you maybe can count on. He's not going to cost a whole lot for the next couple of years. I like the direction that 92 is going with this defense. And quite frankly, I'd like to see him get a little more opportunity out there to try to affect the opposing quarterback. Leon Searcy, former offensive tackle, Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on Primetime. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Let's preview the Chargers. I don't even know if we're going to talk about Houston anymore. I'm kind of tired of talking about that. But I want to talk about the offensive line with one of the best offensive linemen that's ever played here in Jacksonville. Leon, quite frankly, had some very critical thoughts on the fifth quarter on Sunday about a couple of the offensive linemen. I'm going to ask him to expand on those thoughts here. I think you'll really find what he has to say pretty interesting. Leon Searcy joins me next on a Wednesday night here in the city of Jacksonville. It's Hacker After Dark.
Flipping flapjacks and football on your game day.
I smell bacon.
On the Terminix Kickoff Show. Live from Tailgaters Parking. Presented by Campione Law and American Electrical Contracting. 5 hours before kickoff on 1010XL.
Attention skilled electricians, are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Are you ready to upgrade your windows or patio doors? It's the Black Friday sales event going on now at Renewal by Andersen. Buy now and pay nothing until 2027. That's no money down, no payments, and no interest for 2 years. And this offer expires November 30th. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
E.T. here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Did you know that basketball and volleyball were invented at the YMCA? That's right, and even today, the Y continues to lead the way in youth sports programming, from toddlers just starting out to teens ready to compete. The Y offers skill development, recreational play, and competitive leagues, all in a fun, supportive environment. Get your child in the game to build character and skills at the Y. Registration is now open for youth volleyball and soccer at fcymca.org.
Rollovers, head-on collisions, hit and runs, you name it, we've litigated it.
And while insurance companies joke about the mayhem that occurs on roadways, we've seen the real effects. Lost lives, catastrophic injury, cars crushed like soda cans. And trust us, there's nothing funny about it.
If you've been in a crash, count on our experienced attorneys to seek full justice and all the money your case is worth.
For a fairer fight, you know who to call. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Unlocked by Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors. The law firm of Farah and Farah and Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Go Gators!
I'm Frank Frangie, and I've been telling you how proud I am of my daughter Amber, who's lost so much weight on Awaken 180.
But it's been a while now, so I wonder if it's something she can maintain. So I sort of asked her, how's it going?
So far, so good, Dad. But you're right, it has been a while. But that's the beauty of the Awaken 180 plan. There's so much variety in the food choices, you don't get bored.
You look great. Do you feel better?
I feel so much better. And I know it's because of the weight loss and how it's changed my lifestyle. So there's no chance I won't sustain it.
Well, what about over the holidays? Look, you grew up in our home, and you know we love the holidays.
Oh, I still plan on enjoying the holidays. I just plan on doing it by eating right. And I've already had the conversation with my coach. She understands the challenges of the holidays, and she's guided so many folks just like me through this. We've already made a plan.
So take my kid's word for it. Awaken 180 works. It's sustainable, even over the holidays. So change your life by calling 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Chargers, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL, and Jacksonville just needs to get back out on the football field, right? They have taken a couple of body blows this week. The obvious collapse against Houston. Then we find out yesterday that Travis Hunter is officially done for the year. It has, quite frankly, been a nightmare week for the Jaguars, but as I talked about last night, I don't think the season is over by any stretch of the imagination, and in fact, the Jaguars still have everything right in front of them. Let's talk about all of it with a former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Of course, that's my buddy Leon Searcy. Leon, how are you, man?
It's good, bro.
You know, you and I spoke Sunday night at the fifth quarter. You've now had a couple of days to kind of decompress. There was a lot of emotion from you, myself, the coach Gerald Ingram, and obviously the callers on Sunday. Leon, 72-plus hours later, have your thoughts changed at all about not only Sunday, but maybe the outlook of this team moving forward?
Well, no, my thoughts about the team hasn't changed from what happened, the colossal collapse of the team in the fourth quarter. This team just got to do better. They got to do right by themselves. I mean, they're one of the most penalized teams in the NFL. They're always in a situation where they're pressing the self-destruct button. They're doing it to themselves. Their lack of intensity, execution, finish, penalties. I mean, that's them. And, you know, my viewpoint about them hasn't changed as far as them imploding on Sunday with everything at stake, you know, a 6-3 record, putting the into your division rivals. But the best thing about the NFL is this. I've been in situations where we've had bad games, and the NFL gives you opportunities to redeem yourself. So I'm going to be very interested to see how this team responds after that debacle Sunday.
You know, you and I kind of went viral with our thoughts about Walker Little. That clip blew up on, you know, the 1010XL social media channels. Walker did not play very well by any stretch of the imagination. And look, I mean, like you said, I mean, you know, you can sit around and cry about it, or you can go out there and do something about it. And the Jaguar offensive line, they need to go out there and do something about it. I don't care what is said this week. All I care about is their actions on Sunday against the LA Chargers.
Yeah, you know, heck, I was in that same position on that same boat you're in, but I've seen so little progress from Walker Little to the point where I think he just needs to be replaced. I think you need to do some shuffling in that offensive line and get your best five out there. The only thing is that we're down in numbers. Now, if Wyatt Needham was healthy, man, I would just move Anton Harrison to left tackle, who he played at Oklahoma, and put Wyatt there at right tackle, because I just don't trust Walker Little. I mean, I know every week we say, okay, he had a tough game, maybe he can bounce back, but he is who he is. He's really not that good of a left tackle, to be quite honest with you, because too many times we've seen him more at his worst than we've seen him at his best.
former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Leon, find out yesterday that Travis Hunter is officially done for the year. I was taken aback a little bit by the reaction that I saw to that. I wasn't really all that surprised. I mean, for anybody that watched Liam Cohen's press conference a couple of weeks ago announcing, the IR status of Travis Hunter, you could just tell by his body language, man, his demeanor, that it wasn't good. I thought best case scenario was mid-December, if at all. Turns out he's not going to be back. But again, I guess I was taken aback a little bit by the shock and awe that kind of left this fan base in yesterday.
Yeah, I picked up on this vibe too, Hack, when he was at his presser. I said, hey, something ain't right. Something that he doesn't want to tell us because, initially he thought we was just going to go on IR. Maybe it was just a meniscus, something that you could repair and then he could sit down for a couple of weeks and we can have him back. But I didn't have that feel about it. I said, man, this cat's got something a little bit more serious than that. And come to find out it was, he's got an LCL. He's going to be out for the remainder of the season. And to be quite frank, Hack, this might be, in my opinion, in my assessment, probably the first black eye this organization is having to deal with. And I'm saying this because essentially, what you gave up to get him, the promise that was made as far as something historic, a unicorn, something we've never seen before, and it really didn't fester into what we thought it was going to be, Hack. And not only have we lost a guy at one position, we lost a guy at two positions, playing corner and wide receiver. And the draft capital that we gave up to get this kid, now it's not the kid's fault that he got injured, but I'm just saying organizationally, in my assessment, this probably is going to be, in my opinion, probably the first black eye that it has to sustain because all the hype and all the capital and all the attention to this kid just didn't fester out the way they thought it was going to be.
And that's fair. And all the naysayers nationally will throw a parade because they'll do the I told you so stuff that no one can play, both positions in today's NFL. And there's nothing you can really say about that if you're the Jaguar fan base or the organization. You just have to come back next year and see what Travis Hunter gives you. But again, and Leon, you know this about me, man. I'm never going to be the most positive guy when it comes to the Jaguars. I like to talk in reality. But again, I see these fans on social media yesterday saying, well, the season's over and this, that, and the other. Here's my thought. It absolutely sucks that Travis Hunter is going to be out the rest of the year. It sucks because they obviously had his best game, his final game, and that loss to the LA Rams where he had over 100 yards receiving. But you're going to get Brian Thomas Jr. back at some point. You're going to get Brenton Strange back at some point. I liked what I saw out of Jacoby Myers. He's now going to be more integrated into the offense. Parker Washington has really come on. And if you get anything out of De'Ami Brown, I mean, Leon, you could do a lot worse than that at the skill positions for the Jaguar offense when everybody gets back healthy.
I totally agree with you. And, listen, 5-4 is not as bad as it seems. It just looks bad because of how we got here. I mean, we were a team that was 4-1, beating the Chiefs, and then we've lost the last 3 out of 4, which is not good. But heck, I've been in situations where I was 3-4 at the midpoint, 4-7, and if you want to give up, didn't give up, but you're still in it. You're still in the hunt. And listen, I don't care how your date looks at the dance. You just got to get to the dance. You got to figure a way out to win 9 to 10 games down the stretch. But just take it. I know it sounds cliche, but you got to take it one game. This team cannot play the way it played in the fourth quarter and think they're going to have any chance against anybody moving forward. So you got to clean that mess up. But a lot of that stuff, and we got to meet physicality with physicality because there's a lot of teams out there that say, listen, you can punk the Jaguars if you play physical football because they won't play it back. Mm-hmm. But they got to meet physical with physical. And that's the thing that irritates me so much, especially as an offensive lineman. If someone comes at you physically, don't fold your team. You got to bring it back. You got to battle back. That's the only way you're going to be respected in this league is that when they bring it, you bring it. So that's got to be the assessment. That's got to be the mental aptitude moving forward and being physical, and enough with the mistakes, enough with the silly penalties. That's the kind of stuff costs you football games.
Final moments with former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. You get him every day on Prime Time, and you get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. All right, Leon, there's no doubt that this week has been a nightmare for the fan base, certainly. The 19-point collapse, the news about Travis Hunter. What about the players, right? Is this a circle the wagons game? Is this a game where you find out what kind of leadership you have in the locker room? We'll get to the Chargers in a moment, but just from a standpoint of, man, the worst collapse in franchise history, 48 hours later, the Travis Hunter news. I mean, where do you think these players are mentally coming into practice this week, getting ready for the Chargers?
Well, heck, I mean, first of all, they need a tourniquet, all right? They got to stop the bleeding at some particular point. I was a little disappointed in this team in the fourth quarter when the wheels seemed to be falling off, that nobody addressed it. To where you say, hey, listen, we got to figure out a way to win a football game. And that's what they got to do moving forward. You know, they're down in numbers. They're injured. You know, they don't have all their players, starters back. But in the NFL, no one cares. No one's going to feel sorry for you. So if you're looking for sympathy, you're not going to find it. So you got to figure out a way to win a ball game. You got a hot LA Chargers team coming in. That's physical, running the football, gets after it pretty good defensively as well. There's a well-coached Jim Harbaugh team that's going to try to pound you. And then you got a quarterback back there who can light you up. So you don't have time to cry. You just gotta buckle up your chin straps, pull on your big boy pants, and try to win. Try to find a way to win a ball game so you can stop the bleeding.
Leon, as we begin to wrap up, you know who doesn't care about injuries? That's the Chargers. They're down both of their starting tackles, their top two running backs, one of their best corners. They've been decimated by injury. Hasn't seemed to bother them. They're 7-3 and have won 4 out of 5. If you're Joshua Hines, Allen, if you're Trayvon Walker, if you're that Jaguar D-line, you've been annihilated publicly this week for your lack of pass rush in the fourth quarter specifically, and letting Houston do what they did to you and not stopping the run. Houston also averaged 9 yards on the ground there towards the end of the ball game as well. It was a colossal failure by the defense. And you know the Chargers are without both starting tackles. And if you can't get pressure on Herbert this week, man, at some point I don't know what to tell you about 41, 44 and that supporting cast.
Well, heck, this is like this is the same movie. We've seen this movie before. We assessed that, we thought that we had the advantage. The Texans were down offensive linemen. It's been so many occasions where we said, okay, we've got the clear-cut advantage as far as pass rush comes because they're missing guys, and we got so-called 2 elite rushers, and they failed us time and time again. So I'm not looking for them to do anything special. I'm off the hype train. Until they show me better, I'm not going to believe they're going to be any better, because in time in and time out, I'm thinking that we've got the advantage when it comes to our so-called bookend pass rushers, and they've come up short every time. So until I see it, I'm not going to believe it.
Final question. I don't, everybody's going to pick the Chargers to win this game, and with good reason. Everything says Chargers. Here's my one thought on Jacksonville, and I thought this even Sunday night after the 5th quarter and into this week. And I don't know if this is true yet, but if they win Sunday, I think there is something to this. This team is terrible when they're successful. If they start getting big heads or whatever it is, when they start having some success, they don't play very well. But what we've seen this year, Leon, is when they're backed into a corner and when they're told that they suck and when the wheels are coming off, like after the Cincinnati game, they'll normally play pretty well, right? I mean, after the Rams game, they get embarrassed, they get the bye week, they go beat the Raiders. So I do think Jacksonville will play very well. I also look at the Chargers. They've won 4 out of 5. They've won 3 in a row. They're coming to the East Coast, and the interesting thing is they have a bye week next week. So they got this long trip to the East Coast, then they're flying back, and then they get a week off for a bye. I kind of like where this falls on the schedule for Jacksonville. I don't know who I'm going to pick necessarily yet, but I do know that Jacksonville does respond well when they're in adverse situations. What's your quick thought on this game?
Well, I like your assessment. I like your nice little soliloquy that you went through. But they're going to get their doors blown off, okay? They're going to get the doors blown off. They're gonna out until I see different. I'm not going to pick them until I see different. Anytime there is a team that comes in here and wants to play physical football with the Jaguars retreat. They retreat every time. So until I think the Chargers are going to blow their doors off. All right, I really do.
And you're one of the most positive guys around when it comes to the Jaguars.
Bro, that fourth quarter, man. Listen, I told you, toughness. We players, we hold a mantle of toughness in the NFL. In the fourth quarter, that's when you got to dig down deep and get it done. And this team retreated, bro. They had to know that the Houston Texans were going to have some pride about themselves and try to figure out a way to come back and win this game. And this team did not respond well. So and that's disheartening to me. Anybody that's ever put on that teal and black, that's disheartening to see that something like that happen. So I'm not going to pick them until I see something different. So I think the Chargers are going to come down here and destroy them.
Former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Leon Searcy. You get him every day on Prime Time, and we're lucky enough to have him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, appreciate it, man. We'll talk again next week.
You got it, bro.
It's a coast-to-coast connection as the Lightning Bolts travel 2,400 miles from Southern California to North Florida, Santa Monica Pier to Jax Beach. L.A. has Lightning Bolts, but Jacksonville has Jungle Thunder. Jaguars, Chargers. Sunday at 1 on the home of the Jaguars. 1010 XL.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
Truth Teller here, and I've solved all of your holiday problems and stress. A gift card from the Blue Crab Crab House. Get this, you buy a $50 gift card, and you get an additional $15 card for free. It's that simple, and as always at the Blue Crab Crab House, the best crabs in Jacksonville, oysters and seafood, period. Blue Crab Crab House, open every day except for Monday, off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road.
In the game of vehicle performance and reliability, Atlantic Infinity is always the top pick. This is Hayes Carlyon. Did you know that every certified pre-owned Infinity is inspected, factory-backed, with a limited warranty, and gets the same championship-level service as a brand-new Infinity? Every mile will feel like first class. Check out their full certified inventory now at AtlanticInfinity.com or visit Atlantic Infinity off Atlantic near St. John's Bluff.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I called you about the ductwork in my attic this summer, and you totally blew me off.
I did.
My airflow is too low and my bills are too high.
I know.
There's stains on my ceiling tiles and sweating around the vents, and the mice have chewed so many holes in the ducts, I think they're getting more AC than I am.
I know.
Then how could you let me suffer all summer, Jason?
Because summer is the one time of year I just can't send my technician into someone's steaming hot attic. They'd kill me. Ductwork is hot, cramped work at the best of times. Lucky for you, those best of times are in November.
You mean like now?
Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair your old, damaged, or just plain sketchy ductwork right now when it's not too hot and not too cold.
And none of your technicians will kill you.
It's a win-win.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we want it, we got to bring my thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
This is the event people wait for all year. Beard's Diamonds Anniversary Sale is here. As the town center's only locally owned jeweler, Beard celebrates 44 years in Jacksonville with huge store-wide savings. That's right, you save up to 44%. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands. Buy now and get as much as 44% off Beard's already amazing prices. Check out our new selection of amazing diamond necklaces with both natural or lab-grown diamonds. Or see our selection of the hottest yellow gold fashion jewelry starting at under $300. And if you're getting engaged before year end, you can get the ring of her dreams and save like never before at Beard's. Beard's Diamonds, because we're local, we can run circles around those corporate chain stores with better selection, better prices, better service, and better quality. Don't settle for chain store jewelry. Get her the best at Beard's. Don't miss Beard's Diamonds Anniversary Sale up to 44% off store-wide. Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center. Shop local, shop Beard's.
When the hourglass runs out of sand, 1010XL puts time back on the clock. Hacker Leon and Coach Gerald Ingram bring you the window world of Northeast Florida fifth quarter, flavored by Hurricane Grill and Wings and Apex Roofing and Contracting.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. Went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. And if your dream is to create that space where you're living large in your backyard, then you need to get with the good people at CSS. They put a gas log in our fireplace, an awesome fire pit out back where the kids can toast s'mores and we can just hang out and watch the game. It's all part of your outdoor living experience with CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
You dream it, we build it. CSS. CSS.
Mike Dempsey for Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacksonville Beach. If your roof's got any damage, if it leaks, if it's just old and ugly, call my friends at Apex Roofing. But Mike, roofs are so expensive. It's true, quality roofing is not cheap, but Apex Roofing has up to 100% financing available, so you don't have to compromise quality for budget. Apex Roofing, no shortcuts, no stress, just quality work with financing available. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacksonville Beach. ApexRoofingFL.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, my buddy Mark Wise of ESPN will join me towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. We'll recap the Florida victory over Florida State last night. The Gators on the hardwood, the defending national champions, their next game is here in Jacksonville on Sunday evening against Miami. What a fun day Sunday could potentially be if you're a Jaguar and a Gator, or even a Jaguar and a Hurricane. You go down to Everbank Stadium, hopefully watch the Jaguars pull an upset, which I think it would be probably an upset after last week, and knock off the Chargers. Then maybe go grab some dinner and then head on over to the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena for a little Florida-Miami college basketball Sunday evening as well. So we'll look at Florida and their win over Florida State, a much improved, by the way, a much improved Florida State basketball program. Mark Wise of ESPN joins me about 30 minutes from now. Also, JP Acosta of CBSSports.com. We'll talk with JP about the Jaguars, the AFC South, and we'll certainly look ahead to this matchup with the Los Angeles Chargers coming up with JP Acosta in about 15 minutes or so. Want to get back into the Jaguars, but quickly, some college stuff. Denmark, you sent me this from our guy Zach Goodall of Swamp 247. I hadn't seen this, and I'm quite frankly just trying to process it. So Caleb Banks, who's been out of the Florida lineup now for, a month and a half with an injury. Look, I thought that he was probably getting ready for the league. Zach Goodall tweets out this evening that Caleb Banks has been medically cleared and that there's a thought down there that he might try to come back and play in, maybe the final game or two this season. Denmark, I would be shocked by that. And kudos to that young man if he's attempting that and wants to do that. But you have to ask yourself a question. Why would Caleb Banks want to do that?
I don't know. Probably put more tape out there. I mean, he didn't play hardly at all this year. And, I mean, I agree with you. Maybe some guys, they take a lot of pride in playing college football. And maybe, he loves college football and he wants to play. And, I don't know.
It would be. Senior day would be against Florida State, I suppose.
Yeah, and he hasn't practiced at all since he got hurt against LSU. So that's why the injury report came out for the Ole Miss game. He's doubtful. So you don't expect him to play. But if he's medically cleared, if he wants to play, I would expect him. He'd be good to go by next week. It's kind of how I'm taking it.
Yeah, boy, that would be something. I mean, look, that would be. You have a chance to play 2 more home games, right? Again, the Gators do finish with 2 at home, by the way, against 2 of their most bitter rivals, Tennessee and Florida State. So there certainly would be something to play for, to beat your 2 rivals to end your college season. But, yeah, that was kind of caught me off guard a little bit, that potentially Caleb Banks may come back into the Florida lineup. Denmark, we'll do more on this game tomorrow, and certainly when you and I get together for Gator Bites on Friday, which, by the way, I just found out that I have a parent-teacher conference with Little Hacks, the teacher and principal, because apparently he's still talking too much in class. So we may have to move up Gator Bites a tad bit on Friday morning. But nevertheless, Ole Miss is going to destroy the Gators, correct? I mean, do you have a vibe on this game one way or the other?
The injury report says they got 9 guys out. It's probably going to be 10. I think Ole Miss is going to name their score.
I mean, Ole Miss, Florida probably cost them a spot in the playoff last year. They smell blood in the water. That fan base already hates the Gators, and the whole Lane Kiffin stuff is adding to that. And maybe Lane, Lane is having so much fun on Twitter with the things he's doing. I saw earlier today, I guess he tweeted something out that you could make reference that it was a Tom Petty song. And obviously Tom Petty, I Won't Back Down with Florida. I don't know. I saw it on the timeline. I'm not musically intellectual, but there was some Tom Petty reference and something that Lane Kiffin tweeted out. And now you even got the Oxford media, and I think some people took offense to this. Some people had an issue with Oxford media and Ole Miss media going to Lane Kiffin's son, Knox, the quarterback of Oxford High School, and asking him about what his dad's future plans are. And Knox, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically said, well, that'll happen at the end of the year. He'll focus on that at the end of the season. I don't know, Denmark, do you have an issue with them going to the junior in high school and asking him what his dad's future plans are going to be?
Yeah, if I was a reporter, I would not have asked a kid what his dad's plans are when I can ask the dad himself. I know he's talked about it, but yeah, I mean, the players that were playing there last year, I'm sure they feel a type of way against Florida, but I mean, half the roster wasn't even there a year ago.
Yeah, Ole Miss has gotten a lot of their guys through the portal. That's kind of what Lane Kiffin does. And look, and I want to get back into the Jags quickly, but the whole Lane Kiffin to Florida thing, that's going to be a big part of it. I mean, you could argue that Lane has not exactly been a great high school recruiter. Now, he's at Ole Miss, all right? So is it harder to get high school talent to go to Oxford? A lot of Ole Miss's damage, meaning a lot of their good guys that are performing well for them are through the portal. That's kind of how Lane has buttered his bread out there for the last couple of years. So we will see if / when, dare I say, Lane Kiffin becomes potentially the new head coach at the University of Florida. But again, Florida Ole Miss, Saturday night, 7 o'clock. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Back into the Jacksonville Jaguars. I wanted to let you hear a soundbite or two from Trevor Lawrence. He met the media earlier today as well. Again, JP Acosta, CBS Sports, joins me in less than 10 minutes. We talk about Liam Cohen earlier, telling Trevor this week, man, let it rip. Let it go. Take more chances down the field. Trevor was asked about that, and it asked about talking to Cohen about being more free with the football.
Going out there and cutting it loose and feeling a little bit more freedom to let some things go, to take some shots. And that's the balance of playing quarterback, right, is the balance of aggressiveness, of when to take the shot, when to, take completions, when to protect the ball. That's something where, just specifically looking at this last game, I think there was, probably a few opportunities where I could have maybe thrown a couple balls a little earlier, give our guys some chances down the field. And, you might not hit all of them, but try to avoid some of those sacks. And then you look at just overall being a little bit more aggressive when we have some opportunities down the field. I think that's something that this year maybe haven't taken as many shots. So that's something I know I can do well, and I know our offense can do well that we have done in the past. So I know that we can make some improvements. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just going out there, cutting it loose, trusting myself. I know that, Liam's got my back, the whole team, the whole offense has my back, and just, going out there and playing free.
It's a catch-22 because, he's talking about Liam and the offense has his back, and I believe they do. But the first sign that Trevor's going down the field, and if one gets picked off, well then, everybody here locally, fans, media alike, we're all going to be up in arms about Trevor being careless with the football. When you think about all the interceptions and fumbles he's accumulated in his career already, is he a little gun-shy from that aspect? Knowing about his turnover issues, does he do more conservative stuff to now avoid all those turnover issues? And finally, Trevor was asked, kind of along those lines, about the lack of explosive plays here in Jacksonville so far in 2025.
Early on in the year, I had a lot of turnovers, and I think that's something where I feel like I got a little bit more, focused on taking some completions throughout the last few weeks. And then you look at where we're at now, and just if you look at the whole season, I think that's what we've been lacking, is some of the explosives down the field. And you still got to play quarterback at the end of the day, read it out, take what's there, and be smart. But I think we will have some opportunities, and I know that we can make those plays. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, there you go. Thank you to our friends at Jaguars.com. You don't have to hear me say it. You just heard Trevor say it. Yeah, all the turnovers that have happened early in the year, he was focusing on completions. And you got to get out of that mindset now with the way the Jaguar offense is and how the injuries are beginning to accumulate. You're going to have to take chances. The odds of you driving 10, 12, 14 play drives with a beat-up offensive line, a wide receiver core that is obviously not going to be at full strength for the rest of the year, you're going to have to start getting more chunk plays to help yourself move the football, and that is certainly the message, it appears, that Liam Cohen gave to Trevor Lawrence earlier this week. Again, 13 players, 25% of the roster ended up on the injury report today for Jacksonville. I believe 4 or 5 of those did not practice, including Anton Harrison, Jordan Lewis, Hunter Long was on that list. Brian Thomas Jr. was limited, which is an improvement. Again, 13 guys on the injury report, 4 did not practice. Everybody else, I believe, was limited. I would imagine of the 13, you're going to have 7 or 8 of those guys play on Sunday. I still think the Jaguars might be down 4 or 5 guys. We'll see about Brenton Strange. His 3-week window was open today for him to be able to come back, and that would be a welcomed sight to see Brenton Strange back in the lineup for the Jaguar offense. Let's talk Jaguars-Chargers. Let's look around the division as well. JP Acosta, CBSSports.com, does a terrific job covering the National Football League, and he joins me next on a Wednesday night here in the city of Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
It's the secret sauce of a successful football team.
This is a special group of men.
Each week, Superior Plumbing spotlights the special teams player of the game.
It was complete domination in all 3 phases.
That's how you win football games.
on 1010XL.
Why wait for a reason to send flowers? Celebrate life's little wins, or just celebrate you. Stop into the showroom on Beach and Southside, or online at JacksonvilleFlowerMarket.com. Jacksonville Flower Market. We make every day bloom.
Did you know Duck Duck Rooter is the area's go-to plumber? A 5-star Google-rated company, Duck Duck Rooter can take care of all of your plumbing repairs and upgrades. Need to switch from septic over to city sewer? Call the Duck. How about water heater repairs and replacement? You're just a duck away, or call away, for Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosser here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Oh, hey, welcome to gift wrapping. Whoa, Zoe Saldana.
Hey, can you wrap these, please?
Wow, iPhone 17s. You splurged.
At T-Mobile, you can get 4 iPhone 17s on them. It's the perfect gift for everyone.
I'm the worst. I only got my mom a robe.
Well, it's better than socks.
So I have to trade in my old phone, right?
No, at T-Mobile, there's no trade-ins needed when you switch. Keep your old phone or give it as a gift.
Incredible.
In fact, wrap up my old phone, too, for my Aunt Rosa. Forget that. Aunt Liz will be jealous.
Sounds like my family. Drama.
Oh, I got it. I'll give it to my abuela. I'll take reindeer paper with, hey, where are you going?
To T-Mobile. Thanks, Zoe.
The holidays are better at T-Mobile. Get 4 iPhone 17s on us. No trade-in needed when you switch. Plus 4 lines for just $25 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 4 eligible board-ins on essentials for well-qualified customers. Auto pay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end in balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 256 gigabytes, $830 required. Visit T-Mobile.com.
He caught the game winner from Danny Warfel and never looked back. Former Gator Chris Doring joins Dan and Jeff on The Drill Tuesday mornings at 7:20 on 1010XL. Protected by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, you only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
Florida Gators football on 1010XL is driven by Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. And the law firm of Farah and Farah. Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
Yo, E.T. here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar, Twin Peaks. Scratch kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge. Come on, somebody.
Hey folks, Frank Franzi here for Lee & Kate's Glass. Now with the holidays coming, it's time to update that dated-looking bathroom setup and give yourself the gift of a gorgeous new frameless shower with big, sexy glass you spend every morning and night in that bathroom. A new shower enclosure from Lee & Kate's Glass will look fantastic and make your bathroom feel like a luxurious spa. You'll love it. You deserve it. Request the free in-home consultation. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
You're gonna see a big difference.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Chargers, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The Jaguars, miraculously, are 5-4, would still be in the playoffs if they started today, but certainly no one here in Jacksonville wants to talk about that. It's all about the worst fourth quarter collapse in franchise history last week in Houston. Let's talk about the collapse and how on earth the Jaguars move forward. JP Acosta, CBSSports.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. JP, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I wish I was doing a little better with the Jaguars, hopefully winning football games. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, first and foremost, congrats on CBS Sports, man. I haven't talked to you on air since your move to CBS. That's big time. Congrats to you. And, look, Jacksonville, it is what it is. They were up 19 with 12 and a half minutes to go in Houston. Davis Mills brings the Texans back. JP, what was your thought on that disaster for the Jaguars in the fourth quarter on Sunday?
So initially, I think I was a little angry at the defense for letting up a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter. But I think as much as the defense played poorly, I think the offense also played just as poor. This was a team loss. If you're able to sustain one drive in this game, I think that you're able to pull out a win. I think there were a lot of decisions. I think offensively, I actually just got finished watching the offense versus the Texans defense, and I felt like offensively, they did not handle the pressure from the Texans defensive line very well at all. I think they had a 50% pressure rate on the entire game, and then when they only rushed a four-man rush, they had a 65% pressure rate, which is insane, and it's unsustainable for anybody to really win in an NFL football game with a 65% pressure rate. I thought they weren't able to run the ball. You really missed Ezra Cleveland in the run game. And then defensively, it was a great game plan by the Texans and Nick Caley, but the fact that you weren't able to convert any of your pressures into sacks and the fact that they were able to convert their pressures into sacks is why they won the game.
I mean, JP, they got physically whipped on the line of scrimmage, man. The Jaguar offensive line, look, Walker Little, let's call it what it is. He was terrible on Sunday. And then Chuma Edoga comes in, sometimes in a jumbo package, sometimes in for injured guys. And I get coming in and out of the lineup and on and off the field can be difficult. But my goodness, man, I mean, a couple of those penalties, and that's not the first time he's had a couple of penalties in the same game, just absolutely are killers. I mean, the offensive line was atrocious on Sunday in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you could really tell, especially when in a game like that, where you're up already, the best way to ice away a game is running the football. They were not able to run the football sustainably in that game. And like you said, Walker Little, Anton Harrison, I think they both struggle with power. They struggle with guys trying to run through them instead of running around them. That's when the offenses look the worst. You think about games like the Seahawks game, like the Rams game, and the Texans game, where they have guys who can run through them. They struggle a lot. So I think that this game was sort of an indictment of the fact that they kind of nickel and dimed the offensive line in the offseason and hope that the offense will be able to scheme around that. But it's really hard to scheme around an offensive line that can't block.
Yeah, it was ridiculous on Sunday. Danielle Hunter did whatever he wanted to do. And that brings me to Trevor Lawrence. I mean, look, he's getting his fair share of criticism here, JP, as you can imagine with a high-profile quarterback and all. And I don't think he played great by any stretch of the imagination. But when your left tackle is getting annihilated the entirety of the fourth quarter, what can you really expect your quarterback to do?
I think he didn't play great. I think there were some reads that I think he came off of too early because of pressure. But I think that this game was a perfect example of why it's so important to invest in the offensive line and invest a lot of capital into your offensive line. I mean, this game, you could tell Lawrence was rattled by the pressure and the hits. The hits especially around him, everybody flying around. I just think that he did not play well, but I also think that his inability to play well under pressure is symptomatic of everything that has happened since Trevor Lawrence has been the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Couple of more for JP Acosta of CBSSports.com. JP, on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, let's call it what it is. The pass rush is not there. They can't get to the quarterback with 4. They haven't been able to all year. And I know he's getting double-teamed, man, and I'm not saying it's an easy job, but if you want to be considered in the ranks of T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett and Max Crosby and Aiden Hutchinson and the best pass rushers in the league, if you're Joshua Hines-Allen, you got to make some plays in the fourth quarter, man. They simply were not being made.
That's the biggest thing for me, because if you look at the numbers, the Jaguars got pressure. They had a 44.5% pressure rate in that game. It was one of the 5 highest pressure rates this week for any defense, but they only converted it to 1 sack. They did not finish plays, and that's the biggest thing. You're looking at Eric Armstead, who led the team in pressures. He had 1 sack. Josh Hines-Allen couldn't finish plays. Trayvon Walker couldn't finish plays. The touchdown Davis Mills ran in, that's a play that Trayvon Walker normally finishes. It's just those type of things that prevent the good Jaguars defense from being great. And I think that's what they're missing. They're missing that ability to finish. That's the biggest issue.
When you have a below-average offensive line and a defensive line that's not getting the quarterback on the ground when they have the opportunity, I mean, what can Liam Cohen do at this point? The hay is in the barn, man. We're halfway through the year, over halfway. It kind of is what it is at this point, right? What can be done about this?
There's not really much you can do about the personnel, especially on the offensive side of the ball. There's not much you really can do. Like, this is the team that you built. There's no offensive line help coming in to bring this offense up a level. And defensively, you're just hoping that you can convert the pressures into sacks. They need to – I made a joke about it during the game, but they need to run the turnover play more, because that's what worked early in the season. They were able to get a lot of turnovers, and they were able to get pressure to convert into sacks. And now they have to actually go and play these top-tier teams with quarterbacks who can evade pressure a little bit. I'm not saying Davis Mills is an elite quarterback evading of pressure guy, but you have to be able to convert those pressures into sacks. This is about the core players, the aces on this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Those guys have to take over games.
JP, as we take a deep breath, right, and kind of evaluate where Jacksonville is 9 games in, the sky was falling Sunday afternoon into Monday morning, certainly. The fan base is just at a loss for words. I would imagine the players are at a loss for words. But if you can somehow shake the cobwebs off and you actually look at the standings, the Jaguars would be in the playoffs if they started today, and that's all fine and well. But, I mean, I don't know how you recover from something like that, particularly when you have a Justin Herbert-led Charger team coming in here on Sunday, and you know all they're going to hear all week is about their collapse here in the January 23 playoff game. What an interesting dynamic for Jags-Chargers on Sunday.
This is a gut check game for the Jaguars. This is a game where, you know, you got punched in the mouth. You did not expect to lose that game, and you did. What does this team, what does this coaching staff do to respond? We've seen this team respond well early to getting punched in the mouth. So I think moving forward, how this team responds will be a really good look at what Liam Cohen is bringing to the franchise as a head coach, what this coaching staff is bringing. In the next few games, you have the Chargers, you have the Cardinals, Titans, Colts. You also have a Broncos game in there. You have another Colts game to finish out the season. This is going to be the moment where if they want to make the playoffs, because right now they are tied with the Chiefs, and they have that tiebreaker, but the Chiefs are one of the best teams in football and are playing some really good football right now. So if you want to win and make the playoffs, you can't let this loss sit. You can't let it eat at you. That's what's happened with Jaguars teams in the previous years. One loss has completely derailed the team. You can't let this loss eat at you.
Final moments, JP Acosta, CBSSports.com. JP, as we begin to wrap up, That's a tough chore for a first-year head coach, right? I mean, I'm curious, your thoughts on Liam Cohen to this point. And like you said, you can't let this loss derail your season. But for a first-year head coach, that's a tough ask, is it not?
It is a tough ask, but what we've seen from this team so far this season is that they've been able to respond. They've been hitting the mouse. They've responded pretty well this season. This is their biggest moment of trying to become who the Jaguars want to be in Liam Cohen's era. Of course, this is not a team full of Cohen's players, obviously, but this team is molded in the image of their head coach. And if Cohen wants to be a guy that's going to be around in Jacksonville for a long time, it's not just about the cool plays you can draw up or some of the cool designs that you can make for the offense. It's about these moments right here where you're coming off a loss, a demoralizing loss, and you still are in the hunt. You have to go and play the next game. This is going to be a great look at who Liam Cohen is as a head coach, not just an offensive designer.
JP, final question. It's interesting you say that. I said the same thing earlier in the week. I think the Jaguars have already passed the test about responding to adversity. So I don't doubt that they're going to play well on Sunday. My thing is they have flunked miserably in responding to success. Whenever they start getting talked about or they get their chest puffed out a little bit like after Kansas City, they've just fallen on their face. I think adversity hits them and they're a good team. Success hits them, and my goodness, it's a completely different story.
But I think that also goes to what Liam Cohen wants to be as a head coach and who he wants to be and what this team wants to become as they move into this Cohen era. You have to be able to respond to some of the outside noise. And I think that this Jaguars team responds really well when people think that they're not good. But when everybody starts to bet on them, the lights get a little too bright. So I want to know what Cohen's going to do to make sure that this team doesn't fall for their own hype and keep playing the next game.
JP, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, CBSSports.com, what you have coming out on the website in the coming days leading into Week 11.
Well, you can always find me on Pushing the Pile. That's where I'm mainly at. That is our CBS Sports NFL podcast. You can find me on CBS Sports Network and CBS Sports HQ talking about football. And then I have a story coming out this week on CBSSports.com.
JP Acosta, CBSSports.com. JP, thank you as always, my friend. We'll do it again soon.
Of course. Thank you so much.
1010XL brings you the orange and blue.
And he's loose.
The Gators march into Mississippi with a battle plan to tame the Rebels.
Broken tackle, still on his feet.
Florida Ole Miss, Saturday at 7 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010XL.
Gators!
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece. Premium flooring. Take our advice. Home or business, affordable price. Driveways, pool decks, garage doors, beautiful patios, and more to explore. Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is now available at the Fresh Market Spirits and Wine. The Fresh Market Spirits and Wine is a new adult beverage store offering spirits, wine, beer, and accessories at A1A North in Ponte Vedra, a first-of-its-kind destination for thoughtfully curated spirits, wine, and beer as only the Fresh Market can. And now, you can get Brackish Vodka at the Fresh Market. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. proud partner of the Jaguars.
Hey, Hickett here for Zero Res. It's Thanksgiving time, man. But listen, don't deal with the toughest gravy, cranberry sauce, or pumpkin pie disasters. Let the cleaning freaks do it. Get back to clean. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $149. A 4th room free with a canned food donation. Ideally, a full bag of cans, not just 1 or 2. Also, take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Call my friend Zero Res right now, 28757, or go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and say you want the 1010 special. Zero Res, spelled backwards and forwards. It spells the same.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
What's happening, beautiful people? It's your main man, E to the T here. And cool air, open trails, and that perfect Florida winter sunshine, woo! It's the season to get outside and explore Clay County. From Christmas parades and hometown festivals to holiday markets and local theater shows, holiday magic is lighting up every corner of Clay County. Get outside, get moving, and get active. Come see everything happening this season at exploreclay.com. That's exploreclay.com.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hickett here. You know me, I'm a protect the skin kind of guy. That said, it's getting a little cooler and the long sleeves are making their way out. This is absolutely the best time of year to go see my guys, the docs at Beaches Dermatology. Don't wait any longer. It's time. Protect that skin, folks. You know what else it's almost time for? The holidays, coming sooner than we think. Skincare products make great presents for the wife or girlfriend. Knock out a consult and buy your wife a present. Boom! Give them a call today. Online at beachesdermatology.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, on the hardwood last night, a hard-fought victory for the Florida Gators as they beat Florida State, a much-improved Florida State team, 78-76. The Gators now 2-1 on the year, and they will come to Jacksonville this weekend to take on the Miami Hurricanes Sunday down at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Let's talk Florida. Let's look around the SEC a little bit as well with a man that I always say has forgotten more about college basketball than I'll ever know. My buddy Mark Wise of ESPN, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Mark, it's been a while, man. How are you?
Hacker, man, I'm doing great. It's great to be talking hoops again, especially since it's still in the month of November. And I got to tell you that watching Florida State play, there are 2 teams in the country that come to mind that are going to have a complete schematic change from what they've done in the past and what they're doing now with 2 new head coaches. One is Texas A&M and Bucky McMillan, who plays the famous Bucky ball where they substitute 5 at a time. They shoot a lot of threes. They don't really care about defense. And then the other one is Florida State. And you saw it last night, the changing defenses, the pressing defenses. They played 1-3-1 some of the time. They did a 3-quarter trap. They did some run and jump in the second half where they just go and double the ball. So what they make you do and what they're trying to make you do and what they did effectively against Florida last night was they make you make a lot of unpracticed plays. You just kind of have to play in space and read and make the right decision instead of, hey, we're going to run this set. Florida was sometimes good at that and sometimes they were not.
Yeah, I was impressed by Florida State. They're going to be considerably better, in my opinion, than what their preseason ranking was in the Atlantic Coast Conference. But let's spend some time on Florida. They do get the win, Mark, and I know you've already had them this year. You called the game against UNF there on the SEC Network. Look, we'll get to the front court in a moment because they've been dominating, but the big story for the Gators is can they buy a three-point shot? I mean, good grief. I know we got a little spoiled with Walter Clayton and Will Richard. You look what Will Richard's doing in the NBA right now as a prime example of that. But, Mark, that perimeter shooting has been horrible the first 3 games.
Yeah, I would say on what is today, November 12th, it's not time to panic, but it's a time for concern. And the reason why I say concern is because some of these threes, especially last night late when they could have kind of like ended the game with 5 minutes to go, they're wide open. I mean, these are uncontested threes. So when you have a lot of turnovers, which they have done in the game against Arizona and last night, especially from Condon, and then you don't knock down threes, the only way you can make up for that is either crash the glass and have such an advantage there, which is what they did last night, or you don't. And that's what happened to them in Arizona. So the difference was, I thought, last night that Florida, even though they gave up a lot to McCray down the stretch off the bounce because they switched out, they did eliminate the three in the second half, and especially down the stretch. Remember, twos can hurt you, but threes kill you. Mm-hmm. And so that was a schematic decision and adjustment that they made that was a good one down the stretch. Am I concerned about the three-point shooting? Yes. Am I ready to panic about it? No.
Mark Wise of ESPN. One thing that I think wasn't talked about enough coming into the year, everybody's talking about Lee and Flan and these great guards out of the portal. And while that's true, I think there's a lot of potential there. Walter Clayton and Will Richard had a year playing together prior to last season. They were together 2 years in total. Now, Elijah Martin came in last year and just fit in like a glove. That normally doesn't happen. And I think it's going to take some time for Flan and Lee to kind of build that chemistry with the big men in the front court.
Yeah, I agree with that, not only with the front court, but with each other. And I would have thought at the beginning of maybe August that Lee would be the lead guard or the first point guard, and Flan would be the off guard. That is not the case. Boogie Flan is basically the point guard. Lee is playing off. Now, they can play both, which gives Todd Golden some flexibility. Everything they've done so far has been fine, in my opinion. They will not be the same defenders as Martin and Richard. That is not going to happen. But everything they've done so far has been really good, except for the three-point shooting. So if they can get that cleaned up, one of the things that I'm concerned about for Florida is who plays behind them. Mm-hmm. I know Klabchar made the big three last night, and it was a big three. Remember, he shot the ball horribly as well this year, and teams tend to pick on him defensively. So if he's not making shots, it makes it really hard to play him. And then the guys that you would like to see come on and get some minutes, Ingram, Brown, Isaiah Brown. I mean, I think Ingram last night had a air ball and a turnover in 1 minute. I mean, you can't keep him on the floor in a game like that. So, again, I'm coming back to what I said earlier. It's November 12th. You would like to think that this will develop and they'll get into a better rotation. But right now, it's kind of Bland and Lee and Houck and nobody else out on the perimeter. And Houck is just, I mean, I'm looking at draft boards and he's on everybody's draft board.
And he's skyrocketing up them. Yeah, you mentioned Ingram. He had that turnover in the air ball and he didn't see the floor again. I don't think for the remainder of the game.
Right.
After
That's
that.
Correct. You can't, in a game like that. Here's what all the young players need to understand, or all the guys off the bench. And trust me, coming off the bench is hard to do. People don't understand how hard it is to sit and then come in and play. But keep this in mind. If you can impact winning without the basketball, do that. So go get a rebound. make an assist, make a good decision, make the simple play. Do the simple things that will lead to impacting winning in other ways than scoring. But guess what? Everybody's tied to wanting to see that ball go through the hoop.
Couple of more from Mark Wise of ESPN. Mark, we knew the front court for Florida might be the best in the country coming into the year. And goodness gracious, man, I think those four guys combined for 40-plus rebounds last night. You mentioned Hauck. The transition from freshman to sophomore to junior for him has been absolutely incredible. Hand-Lockton looks like he's in the best shape of his life. And Chinyalu last night was just dominating in there. You know, I've always said Chinyalu is kind of like a Donnell Harvey type, maybe with a little bit better offensive game. And that's what he looked like to me last night. As poor as the backcourt is at shooting, I think the front court to this point, Mark, 3 games in, right? Small sample size, but it has probably lived up to expectation.
No, I don't think there's any question about that. It's a little bit different because Hauck basically was a front court player last year. That is not the case this year. So last year they had 4 guys for 2 spots. Hauck is playing right now about 2-to-1 at the 3 instead of the 4. So when you include him in the front court, it's a little bit misleading, but I get the point. So I kind of think they have 3.5 guys for 2 spots this year. So far, what has happened in the 3 games, the first 2 games, Chinyalu wasn't very good, and Hand-Lockton was outstanding. Last night, those roles were reversed. And that's one of the beauties that Todd Golden has in that kind of front court depth. So their kind of rotation is already figured out, in my view. It's the backcourt rotation that has a long way to go.
You know, and this is an obvious statement, but it's worth talking about. I mean, Florida is going to get everybody's best shot, being the defending national champion. I mean, Arizona, those freshmen played out of their minds in Las Vegas. I thought for what UNF is, UNF played decent. And then last night, Florida State, I mean, that was a terrific performance. They came up just short. Miami is going to give Florida everything they want on Sunday. When you're the defending champs and when you're wearing warm-ups that say national champions on them, you're going to get everybody's best shot this year.
Hacker, you've had me on in years past. We've talked about this. When I was doing the 06-07, when I was on the radio side of things, I watched firsthand. That 07 title was not nearly as much fun as the 06. And for that very reason. You are everybody's promotional gimmick. You are everybody's football band shows up at the basketball game. You are everybody's student section sells out for the first time all season. So that's what they're up against. And that's, in some ways, I think the older players returning might look at that and have a better understanding. But for guys like Lee and Flan who weren't part of it, I'm not sure they're going to understand that until much later in the year. So they have to live with that. That's the albatross of winning it all. Now, is that a fair trade? Of course it is. Everybody would want to do that. So, and that goes back to just to veer off just a little bit. I got asked all the time this summer, was I surprised at Florida winning the NCAA tournament? And my answer to that is, I'm surprised anytime anybody wins the NCAA tournament. That's how difficult it is. So when you do that and you're the defending national champion, that's the albatross that comes the following year.
Mark, we're still a good 6+ weeks away from conference play, and we'll hope we'll have you on at least a time or two prior to January when the conference slate starts. But as far as the SEC goes, I mean, we know how great it was last year. Is this year going to be as good?
I think it would be very difficult to be as good, but it'll be close. Now, they haven't gotten off to quite the hot quad 1-win start that they did last year. Alabama's win at St. John's was significant, obviously. But I've had Arkansas. I think they are much better. I know they lost at Michigan. I didn't think they were very good, and they lost by 3 at Michigan State. I think that maybe tells you. I think this group of freshmen around the country This is a sensational freshman class. Arkansas has two of those in A-Cup and Thomas. So, yeah, and you mentioned Pete from Arizona, Devanza from BYU, and Peterson at Kansas, and so on and so forth. It's an outstanding freshman class this season in college hoops.
One thing as we say goodbye that I'm sure Gator fans took note of last night, their guys can't hit a three to save their life. Denzel Aberdeen goes for 26 for Kentucky, including 4 threes. Still puzzling how he's not in Gainesville right now. I know it's the world of NIL, but obviously Aberdeen has been terrific for Kentucky so far.
Yeah, that's no surprise there. I think he would have been the just as significant of a player at Florida this year. But you asked the question, you also answered the question. And so I'm all for players getting paid. I think we've kind of gone overboard about it. But in this day and age of lawlessness with respect to the transfer portal and tampering and the money being spent, I can't blame anybody for moving on. So from that standpoint, that's Kentucky's gain. Now, Kentucky didn't play very well last night. Well, I shouldn't say that. They chased Louisville the entire game. So, but he was very good.
Mark, where do your travels have you going as the college basketball year is underway? What's it look like in the next week or two for you?
Yeah, we're off to a slow start this year because the network doesn't have as many games as they have had. My next 2 games are now you're asking me to think about my schedule. My next 2 games are I have Florida again, and then I go to Alabama.
Well, it's a busy time of year. You've already called Florida and UNF. Mark Wise, you'll see him all over the ESPN family of networks. Mark, we're off and running. Thank you as always, and we'll talk again soon, my friend.
Thanks for having me on. Have a great holiday if I don't talk to you.
Mark Wise of ESPN with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. And look, the Gators got a big win. That's a nice win over Florida State. There is absolutely no question about that. A much improved Florida State team. I think I saw where, like in the ACC, Florida State was picked 15th out of 17 teams. No way. With what I saw last night, they are going to be considerably better than that, at least in my opinion. So we certainly spent a lot of time on Gator hoops, a little time on Gator football and Seminole football for that matter as both teams get back at it, trying to finish their season strong, I guess is the verbiage you would use there. Florida State playing Virginia Tech, and of course Florida going out to Oxford to play Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. But an overwhelming majority of our time tonight was spent on the Jacksonville Jaguars as they are back to work. I was down at the Miller Electric Center earlier today inside the Jaguar locker room as the Jaguars begin preparations for the Los Angeles Chargers, a Chargers